Hello everyone and welcome to Talking Good Gamers match preview of Kidderminster Harriers against West Ham United, the fourth round of the FA Cup. Charlie, I'm not going to ask you about the opponent, but I am going to ask you about the tie. What do you think about drawing Kidderminster Harriers?
Oh, I'm here for it. I know, like, as West Ham fans, we have this like fear of like the teams in lower leagues and thinking, oh my god, they're going to knock us out. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Realistically, whenever a draw happens, I want the lowest ranked team possible every single time without fail. Just because I quite like watching lower league teams go up against Premier League teams. I can't lie about it. There is the magic of the cup, if you want to word it that way. Whenever I see it, it's very exciting, especially when it's the home side is the lower league side. But also B, just because it gives us the best opportunity to go through. So when the Kidderminster name came out, and me and young Tom were doing the stream, I was very excited about that. I thought I think they were the lowest ranked team. So
yeah, they are. They are the lowest ranked team left in the competition. I've got mixed feelings on it. I agree with yourself. The lowest ranked team, please, easiest possible tie so we can get into the next round. But I think because it's away from home, it makes me a little bit nervous. If it was at the London Stadium, I'd be sitting here just oozing of confidence. And I still have confidence that we will win the game. But because it's at their place, it just makes me a little bit wary, a little bit scared, because historically, we have done poor in cup competitions. Even recent history under the likes of Pellegrini, even David Moyes, where we get knocked out by lower league teams in the cup competitions. You know, Oxford, Wimbledon. It's not good. So the West Ham-itis in me, when it came out initially, I was like, yes, get in. And I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I'm a bit nervous already for this fixture. But do you still have West Hamitis, or does this West Ham, if you like, make you confident that we'll be fine? We won't slip on the banana peeling, if you like, for this one.
Can you ever? Can you ever truly get rid of it, or would you just learn to live with it? I think a part of me. I can't act like part of me doesn't still get a little bit nervous, but the performances in Europe specifically have made me fairly confident. And I've said a lot of, especially over the last couple of days since January 31st, I've said a lot of bad things about David Moyes in general and before that. But I think one of the biggest things I can compliment him on in general this season is how well drilled the team is. And that includes the substitutes, that includes the second strings, the people who you would expect potentially to get a game against Kidderminster. They look like they know their roles. They look like they know what they're doing. They don't look out of place. Ability-wise, certainly not there, but actual tactical nous, whatever you want to call it, they're pretty much there. So I think I'm a lot more confident this year than even I would be usually, but I tend to be fairly realistic, if not, I can't act like there isn't a part of my brain, just a little bit at the back that's like, you can see it now. Kidderminster Harriers knockout Premier League front runners, or whatever you want to call it. Not front runners, top four hopefuls.
While I have an element of nerves, I'm very confident for this one because of David Moyes. I think if you're going to lose this tie, if you're West Ham or any Premier League team, you go to a League Two or less team and lose the FA Cup, I think it's because you've just got your attitude wrong. I think you've turned out with far too much arrogance, expecting that you've won the tie before the ball's been kicked. The other teams wanted it more, if you like, and that's been demonstrated. I think in the past, when you look at Wimbledon and Oxford, we went there and we didn't really have any big characters. We were very timid. We were too scared to get involved. The opposition would turn into a bit of a battle and we'd be back down a little bit. We'd get bullied by the lower league teams, if you like. And I don't think we'll do that under David Moyes. I think the Europa League is the evidence to suggest that this game will turn up, we'll get the job done, we'll keep it professional. I don't think we'll smash them, but I do think we'll win comfortably with the tie at hand. And that's one thing, like you said, about the David Moyes thing, is that he has installed that the correct ethos, if you like, in the team. The culture of this team is slightly different to ones that we've seen in the past under previous managers. So for that reason, I'm pretty confident going into this. Now, before we speak about West Ham, first of all, we've got two things. Kidderminster Harriers, we don't know much about it, so I spoke to a couple of Kidderminster Harriers fans. One of the videos will be on the channel as well. We're asking about his team, how his season's going, and how he sees the game on Saturday afternoon going as well. So if you want to know more about Kidderminster Harriers, do check that video out. It'll be on your screen at the end of this video as well. And while you're here, don't forget to download the OneFootball app. Keep up to date with the latest West Ham United news and even the latest Kidderminster Harriers news. If you're a Kidderminster Harriers fan, get it downloaded to your phone and say, "Oi, what's your favourite club?" You select it, then you click on the emblem of your favourite club and it'll give you all the aggregated news you need to keep up to date. So keep up to date with the latest news and injuries. No more transfer rumours though. The transfer window's done. There's still plenty of news about the transfer window if you wish to keep up for it, including failed bids for Zapata. Depends if you believe it a little, I guess. But keep up to date with the latest on the OneFootball app. It's completely free. Get downloaded to your phone. Links in description and the pinned comments of this video. Now, Charlie, let's talk about West Ham United. FA Cup, lower league team. Is there any must starts for you? Give me 2 or 3 players that has to 100% start on Saturday afternoon.
First name and team sheet is Mark Noble for me. I want him. Every opportunity he can play, I want him to play. Like, I really do. Like, it's his last season, last run in the FA Cup. Well, we don't, again, as you made a point on the video, we don't know for certain he's retiring. However, last time for West Ham at least, last hurrah sort of thing. And I think, especially if you want someone out there to lead a team to be like professional, then Mark Noble's the guy. Don't get me wrong, he does 2-foot a guy every now and then, but who's going to gene him up in that sense? And I think that's the case for me. I made an argument on Two Spanners One Hammer this week, the Patreon podcast, about potentially even playing as strong a team as possible in this fixture, just because of everything that's happened outside of the on-pitch stuff, like the end of the transfer deadline day, everything, just to put out a statement and just to put out a hella professional performance and go, no, we're here to take stuff seriously, just to sort of allay fears, because Jesus, if we lose this game at kick-off. But Mark Noble for me, first name on there. Other people I would probably make a strong argument for would be maybe Fredericks, just to try and ease him in a bit. I know he's just come back. It's probably a good game for him to do that. And then maybe Okoflex. I think there needs to be some rest, and I think we need to potentially use this as a rest and an opportunity. And let's be real again, as we pointed out many times, we don't tend to play the youth players too often. This like the dead rubber game in Europe is an opportunity to see a couple of those people, and potentially Okoflex starting on the left would be my choices.
Yeah, there's 3. The 3 for me. The first one is Declan Rice. For this, the same thing for you, which is a statement that we're here to win the game. We're not here to bow down. So I'd have our best player out there on Saturday afternoon. There will be sort of concerns to some extent over the pitch at Kidderminster. It won't be as good as a Premier League standard. It therefore increases the likelihood of injuries and stuff. I think Declan's got a really good injury record and stuff, so I don't have too much concerns over that. We've also got Watford on Tuesday evening as well, but I've got absolutely no issues with Declan Rice playing Saturday and then Tuesday. But I think if you get him in there to control the game, to just make it difficult for Kidderminster Harriers, I think putting him in there just sends that statement out to everybody that says West Ham are here to win the game. The second is Okoflex for me. I think out the under-23s, you could make a very strong case that he's the one that deserves his chance in the first team. Obviously, we didn't bring in any attackers in the transfer window. Fine, it's done. We've dealt with that now. Fine. But then let's have a look at Okoflex then. Maybe that we can promote him to the senior squad for the second half of the season. Will he play week in, week out? No, but this is a really good opportunity. And there's not going to be many games this season left where you can play 2 or 3 youngsters. This game is one of those that you can play your 8 senior players plus 3 youngsters around them, help them through the game. Okoflex deserves it. He's been banging in the goals for the 23s. And there's been some games this season we've been a little bit flat in the attacking department. And in an ideal world, he starts Saturday, plays really well. He's on the bench against Watford. And if we need a goal, Moyes might turn around and go, actually, I'm not going to put on Andre Yarmolenko. I'm going to put on Armstrong. On you go, mate. You did really well on Saturday. Here's your reward. 10 minutes against Watford off the bench at the London Stadium on Tuesday evening as well. There you go, kid. There's your opportunity. Because, and this leads me on to my third player, that's Jared Bowen. Because what Moyes has said is that Jared Bowen's a backup to Michail Antonio. Now, I think it's fair to assume we won't see Antonio. Michail Antonio played last night of the recording, so Wednesday evening, late Wednesday evening, kicked off at midnight Thursday morning. He played for Jamaica, which was his 3rd game in a week for Jamaica. So he's obviously got to come back from that. I think it's fair to say we won't see Antonio. I don't want to see Antonio on Saturday. I don't want him on the bench. Just give him a chance to recuperate and get ready for Watford. So therefore, if Moyes is intending on using Jared Bowen as the second choice striker, as he's alluded to in the interview, then let's put him up front against Kidderminster. Let's have a look at him up front. But then Okaflex can then, I know Okaflex plays on the left, but when you're a youngster, you don't really care where you play, do you? You'd play right back if you had to. So I think switching him from the left to the right isn't the end of the world for this game. I'd like to see him on the left, but long term, if there was a game we need Jared Bowen up front this season, perhaps Okaflex is the answer as to who replaces Jared Bowen, because I don't think we've got that answer yet. I think that is the question. And Moy says, well, I'm going to use Bowen. Fine, we accept that. But then how are you replacing Jared Bowen? Because it can't be Yarmolenko, surely. So that's my 3 first names on the team sheet. But let's do the other 8 then, Charlie. Who would you like to see in goal on Saturday afternoon for West Ham?
Areola, I guess.
Has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah. I trust him massively, and it just has to be, doesn't it?
Formation, I assume you'll be sticking with a 4-2-3-1 West Ham style formation. So your back 4, how would you like to line up at the back 4?
Fredericks, Elise would maybe be one of the centre backs, and then to be honest with you, I'm vibing Kurt Zuma, but I'm not. I think maybe back down on that one and say Dawson, Elise at centre back, and then left back Ben Johnson.
Ooh, it's not too dissimilar from myself. I think Ben Johnson left back's a must. Just give Creswell a little bit longer. He's come back after a month off or something. I know we've had the winter break, but they've been away from the training ground for a week. So just give Creswell this one off. So Ben Johnson's a must at left back for me. And I agree with Elise, actually. I think we didn't bring in a centre-back in the transfer window. I don't think many expected it, especially towards the end of the transfer window. I don't think many expected it. And it's not as disappointing as a lack of forward. But again, this is an opportunity where perhaps we can have a look at Elise. Is he the 4th choice centre-back at West Ham? Well, he is at the moment. So let's have a look at him. I put him alongside Diop just because of injury concerns to the other two, if you like. Like you said, Zuma's just back after a nasty injury, and Dawson's allegedly been playing through injuries. So it's almost like, well, let's just keep them protected. So I put Diop in. However, saying that, I'd be tempted by Dawson because I think if there's anyone in our starting 11 that can cope with this type of game, it probably is Craig Dawson, actually. And I would trust Elise more, weirdly enough, next to Dawson than Diop, just because of leadership in that. I'd imagine Dawson would look after Elise perhaps a little bit better than Diop would. But right back for me, Charlie, Harrison Ashby. We retained him after the transfer window. He didn't go out on loan.
Did he not go out on loan in the end?
No, he didn't. I don't think he did.
I thought he went to Hull. My bad.
Did he go to Hull?
I forgot, mate. That last day was just full of thumbbnail making and anger for me. I don't remember exactly. I could double check why you say it. You say it.
You double check while I say this. I would put Harrison Ashby in there because we've been told by Moyes that he's the closest under 23s to the Premier League team. Basically, Moyes has said he's close to Premier League level. So let's have a look at him. He's been robbed of a couple of opportunities, if you like. In the past, we were due to play Norwich City at home just before Christmas. We didn't have Soufali, he was out through suspension. We didn't have Ryan Fredericks. Ben Johnson was playing left back. So Ashby was set to start right back, and then he sort of got robbed because the game got postponed. And I felt a little bit sorry for him. So again, this is another game where this is a youngster I'd like to see. But what I will say for clarity, we're probably thinking, Jesus, you're just naming all the under 23s. That's my 3rd and final under 23 player that I would name in the team. What did your Google search say?
You're safe. David Moyes chose not to loan him out.
That's all right then. You look silly, not me. I'll take that.
Bro, you know that final day was wild. So God knows, I just assumed it had happened.
Midfield. How would you like to see the midfield lineup?
Noble and Crowell. We need to see him at some point. This is an opportunity. I think if there's any concerns about legs with Noble, I think Crowell has the defensive capabilities to stay in front of the backline and shield. That's kind of what I want him to do. It's not the most dynamic 2 in the world. I would prefer to play Crowell with someone who's going to get forward, Souček or Rice. I would prefer to play Noble kind of with someone who can cover him in that sense as well. But I think we do need to see Crowell at some point. And this is an option, a chance for him because, he's the only real out-and-out defensive midfielder we have at this point, if we're being honest about it. And I want to give him
some faith, though. Have you still got some faith, though, that he may use Král, because the reason I've not got Král, I've got Noble and Rice in there, and part of the reason for that is now Král should start. It makes sense to start Král in this game, but unlike the difference between Ashby and these saying Okaflex with Král is, I think the first three have got a future at West Ham United. I don't think Král does. It's almost like, what's the benefit of starting Alex Král against Kidderminster? He could be the man of match, but we'd almost get downplayed a little bit because it's only Kidderminster. Well, that doesn't really count. We can't use that for your argument going forward. And I just think that midfield pairing almost is a bit of a carrot to Kidderminster, saying, hey, here's West Ham. We're putting out our like weaker centre midfield, if you like. Do you think Král's... I know what you're saying, but I'm just not convinced that it changes anything for Král. And I think we've seen other games in the past this season where it's perfect to put him in, and he's just not been played at all.
Yeah, I think you raised a good point. One thing I would say, though, is even if... How do I word this? Even if it's not going to change anything, the opportunity needs to be handed to him regardless, if that makes sense. Like, it might, because realistically, we both know he could put in an all-star performance, be incredible, and then he still probably wouldn't get picked in the Premier League. He just move on, and he's in the exact same position. But if he's not given those opportunities to try and prove that, then he's just going to be sat there forever, taking up wages and taking up existence. And I, unlike most people, still have faith in Král as a player in general. Sometimes when I speak to a lot of people, be it on Two Hammers or see people on Twitter or whatever, Two Spanners, sorry, and speak to people on Twitter or whatever, a lot of people are like, oh, he's crap, he's terrible, he's this, he's that. And I'm like, well, we've not really seen him. Like, we were after him very heavily before the Euros. He had a poor Euros, and then all of a sudden everyone's decided he's the worst player in the world. And it's like, well, a single tournament doesn't destroy your entire career. It can for some people, I guess. But I still have faith in him, and he needs to, in my opinion, I would put him in whenever the opportunity arises, and this is one of them. My bigger concern is that it's just a bit too much of a defensive, not mobile enough midfield for me against the team we should be dominating like them. But I'm hoping that will offset. I'm playing some youth players in the attacking positions. Hopefully that will offset any lack of defensive work we get from them, for example.
Well, to speak about the attacking positions, how would you like the front side of West Ham to line up?
Do you want the three or all four at once?
Give me the three, but I'd imagine that gives away the fourth one.
Okay, so from right to left, Yarmolenko, Vlasic, Okaflex.
Yarmolenko. I sort of get it. You know, at the end of the day, Moyes is going to use him whether we want him to or not. So you might as well put him in a game where he's likely to perform well. I put in Vlasic for Niles and then Okaflex on the left because I think for Niles, he's a bit of a battler, isn't he? I think Yarmolenko can be. And in this game, you're going to have to be prepared to do the nitty-gritty. I think you're going to have to take a couple of tasty tackles and be willing to dish out a couple of tasty tackles as well, perhaps. Vlasic needs to play this one in his best position, whatever that is. Whatever David Moyes sees Vlasic is, he has to play in that position. Vlasic should be Moyes' first name on the team sheet, I think, for this one. And say, right, we're going to get the best out of you today. You're going to be the man that everything goes through in that final third. You're almost going to not justify the price tag, but you're going to show the fans what you got a little bit. And we've got to give him the best opportunity, Vlasic, to succeed at this club. And I think this is one game where you can give him a helping hand, at least. Your striker, mine's Jared Bowen. Obviously, who would you like to see up front?
Perkins. So with Yarmolenko, I should say this. I think, obviously, like you said, he's bound to play regardless. We know it's going to happen. But I think an argument for him to play would be, for example, I don't know. Full disclosure, I don't know much about Kidderminster Harriers, unfortunately. But you would suspect if you're a lower league side, non-league side, they're in the 6th tier, going up against the Premier League side, your manager's probably going to go, right, we set up defensively, we stay resolute, and then we try to break on the counter-attack kind of thing. If you want a guy who's got a touch to get past a player, to just shift it onto his left foot and then ping long-range shots against a team who are sitting deep, he's basically the best in our squad at doing that. And I'm confident he'll at least hit him on target. But with Perkins, I think part of it is going to be having sort of, we need to rest Bowen. Bowen is playing too much for me. It's scaring me. And if he is the backup, which Moyes tells us he is, then we need to rest him just in case, because he is the first name on a team, or one of the first names on the team sheet for most games, almost every game. Huh? Yeah, I know, but more of a rest. If you have the opportunity to give him more of a rest, you give him more of a rest, because he's names on the team sheet usually: Declan Rice, Jared Bowen. ahead of Antonio, ahead of anyone else. Like, and for me, you look at this opportunity as a chance to rest him. And so for me, you want someone up front who's going to give you, because I thought about Yarmolenko up front, but what I think is you're going to need a bit of movement, a bit of ingenuity. And I think putting Okaflex and Perkins specifically up front gives you the opportunity for two people who really have a massive amount to gain from it. If you want someone who's going to try and find that bit of space, who's going to follow the ball in, say a ball's scrambling in the area, who's going to try and have that extra get up and go to try and get there for it, then I would rather put him in ahead of anyone else, really, for this one. It's a risk, but I think it's one worth taking.
I think you've justified your Yarmolenko inclusion to some extent. Just to back you up, the Kidderminster Harriers' defence is really good. They've conceded less than 1 goal per game. It's the second best defence in the league, I think. They're sitting third in their league table, one of the best defences. So I get what you're saying about them being tight defensively and stuff. I just think your team's too weak. I think your team is well, you can tell it's an FA Cup team, but I don't know. I just think you're almost...
I don't disagree with you. One thing I would say, when the first lineup came out for the Zagreb game for Europa League, I think everyone was like, oh, that's too weak. And then it went very well from there. Now, that doesn't justify always playing a team everyone thinks is too weak. But what I'm saying is, I think if it's not going well at halftime, say it's just not happening for Sonny Perkins and you have Bowen on the bench, you just bring him at halftime. It's one of those situations where we've got such a small squad. It's not like Bowen's out of the squad completely. No, he's going to be sat on the bench waiting, you know. I think it is a notably weak side. And like I said, I made an argument on Two Spanners to play the strongest side possible. But I think in reality, I want to give them as much rest as possible because if I'm being honest, the FA Cup's not the highest on my priority list this year. So, yeah.
I was going to ask you that in a way. It's the FA Cup's come around. We've obviously got the Europa League and the Premier League. Are you bothered about the FA Cup this year?
Bothered, yes, always bothered. And I suspect Twitter will be ablaze with people who are bothered if we went out to Kidderminster Harriers at the weekend. But it's certainly third on my list this year. Never usually is, but this year specifically it is. Europa League and the league are ahead of them this season. If we didn't have Europa League, then it would be a completely different scenario. But with that coming up in March, do we really need the extra fixture congestion? Potentially not. I'm not going to say no. You know, if we put out this team and we win, it's not like I'm going to be like, damn, we don't get an extra. No, obviously not. We can go as far as possible. But yeah, it's not until we go out potentially in March, then it's third choice for me.
Yeah, I'm sort of the League Cup. I was a bit like that. I was a bit like, meh. But I don't know. For some reason, now we've got a favourable tie. Win the 5th round. I've become a bit more like pro Cups over the last few weeks for some reason. Obviously, the Europa League is always the priority, but I think the FA Cup's not too dissimilar to the league for me. And I think the league looks fiercely competitive at the minute when you look at where we are and the teams behind us with games in hand. And I know they need to win those games and stuff, but it's a top 8. The Premier League's a top 8 this season. You've got your top 3, then you've got 5 underneath them. We're in there, Wolves are in there, and then obviously Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham. It's like a mini league of 5 teams is how I see it. Someone's going to get Champions League. Someone's getting the Europa League. As it stands, someone's getting the Europa Conference League, and 2 teams are going to miss out on European football unless the FA Cup winner finishes above 7th place in the Premier League. So because of the competitiveness of the Premier League, I think I'd almost like to see us take these cup competitions seriously, if you like, starting on Saturday. And you know, you said about liking the romance of the cup. I love the romance of the cup, just not when West Ham are the butt end of the joke, if you like, and we're the ones providing the romance for the neutrals and stuff. Are you confident for this one?
Yeah.
You've got to be, haven't you?
Yeah, it's like, and this is no offense to Kidderminster Harriers, but it's a 6-tier side against a Premier League side. David Moyes has done really well drilling the players over the past 12 months. Clearly, I think even if we put out a second string side, and even if you put out a side as weak as that I'm suggesting, I'm confident. I'm fairly confident that the ability will win out on this day. You know, if we'd gone into Europe and flopped as hard as we potentially could have, then I would be coming into this buttocks clenched. But seeing as we've gone up against Dynamo Zagreb and the like, and done very well with teams that are weaker than not our starting 11, that fills me with a lot of confidence in this one.
Yeah, I'm confident. There's always going to be an element of nerves, but that's just the West Hamitis creeping in. I think any team playing a non-league side's going to have that. Any supporter of that club's going to have that. Even if it's Man City playing, there'll be a few Man City fans that says, whoa, you just never know, do you? But if we turn up with the right attitude, we win this game. Simple as that. There is 6 leagues between us for a reason. But what makes me a little bit nervous, Charlie, is that they beat Reading in the last round. Now, while obviously Reading are in the Championship, it's still a scalp. They've still gone and beaten a Championship team at home in the FA Cup, and that's still an achievement for them. And this game is going to be massive. I follow a couple of Kidderminster Harriers fans on Twitter and stuff, and you can tell they're absolutely buzzing for this game, and so they should be. Premier League club coming to their stadium, payday for the club. This will financially really benefit Kidderminster going forward and stuff. So they've got nothing to lose. There's absolutely zero pressure on them. All the pressure is on West Ham. It's on the early kickoff. It's on BBC. It's all set up for an upset. And I think that's what makes me just a little bit nervous. But I think if we turn up with the attitude, we win. Am I confident in Moyes having the right attitude in the players? Yes. I'm very confident in Moyes is going to have a strong 11 out there as well. I don't think, you talk about your side looking weak, even my side, I think Moyes will go stronger than what I want to see with Elise, Ashby and Okaflex. I don't think we'll see any of that. I think we'll see Ben Rama, Vlasic and Fornals playing. I think we'll see Dawson and Diop centre-backs perhaps or something, Soufal right back. And I think we'll see a really strong team from David Moyes tomorrow. I agree. Saturday afternoon, sorry. Any final words from yourself and the score prediction, please?
I'm really looking forward to it. I always love watching lower league clubs go up against Premier League sides, especially in the Cup when they're at home. And this is this is it. And even though it's us, if anything, that just makes me more excited because I've got more skin in the game for it. I know you don't like that. I'm here for it. I want the risk, Geo. I want to see it.
I've been hurt too many times. I've been disappointed too many times. I remember doing the reviews for those defeats against Oxford and Wimbledon. And then after that review, when we're all kicking off and stuff, the club announced Arnautovic to sign a new deal, assuming that we'd have won the game and they can just stick it out there under the umbrella of the good news of winning the FA Cup tie. And it was like a double blow and stuff. I've seen far too many upsets where we're on the wrong end of it and stuff to look forward to this game. Am I looking forward to it? Yes, but not the whole lower league against Premier League side. I love that as a neutral, but not as a West Ham fan when we are the Premier League side. I did not look forward to it. Fills me with dread.
I'm hyped, personally. I'm hyped. And I think it will be. I don't think it's going to be easy. Even though I'm confident, I don't think it's going to be a tie where they're just going to roll over and have their tummies tickled. I don't think it's one of those situations at all. Talking about score predictions, I'll say 3-1 West Ham. I back them to get a goal. I do think that we'll have the quality to do it. I think we should put out a professional performance. That's what I'm hoping for. Just something as kind of a statement, not in terms of look how much better than Kidderminster we are, a statement to basically the fans who are incredibly angry about the transfer window and everything else to say, we're here to be professional. We're here to do this. We are going to do something this season. And a professional win against Kidderminster goes a long way for that. So I'm saying 3-1. I do back them to get a goal, but I think it'll be a professional, decent performance from West Ham.
Yeah, I'll go with professional. I think it'll be a professional, straightforward job for West Ham on Saturday. So I'm going to say Kidderminster 0, West Ham 3. That's what I'm going to say. A comfortable 3-0 victory. Anyway, if you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it. Also, in the comments below this video, let us know the starting 11 you'd like to see. When it comes to Premier League, everybody has 9 of the same starting 11. There's just 1 or 2 players everybody's different for. But FA Cup games, it's completely different. So let us see in the comments what 11 you'd like to see. We'll be popping back to have a little read of what you're saying. 12:30 game on Saturday, so that means at 11:25 a.m. early start for us. 11:25 on Saturday morning. We are live with our build-up show, so do come back. Also check out the preview with the Kidderminster Harriers fan. That'll be on the screen in just a minute. Drop a like on the video and this fucking.
Drop a like on this video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of that content we're talking about. Come on your hands and we'll see you next time. See you later, everyone. Bye.